Hey Rip City, this is Scoot Henderson, and it's time to open the briefcase with Casey Holdahl.
Greetings, Blazer fans, and welcome to the Briefcase presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. Episode 192 of the Briefcase presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. I am Casey Holdahl, and the Portland Trail Blazers finish off a 5-game homestand with 3 straight wins, 2 in back-to-back games versus the Grizzlies, and then a fantastic third quarter leading the Blazers to a victory versus the 76ers on Monday night to finish up that 5-game homestand. Scoot Henderson and Deni both returned to the lineup. Trailblazers finally getting healthy as we're nearing the All-Star break, and Damian Lillard not taking a break at the All-Star break, going to compete in the three-point contest in Los Angeles at All-Star Weekend Saturday night on this edition of the Briefcase presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. Well, after a very rough road trip and a tough start to a homestand, the Trailblazers finally get a little momentum, finish off a 5-game homestand with 3 straight wins, as I mentioned, starting off on Friday night with a 135-115 victory versus the Memphis Grizzlies at Moda Center in Scoot Henderson's return. It may have taken a while for Scoot Henderson to make his 2025-26 season debut, but it didn't take long for him to have an impact once he did. After missing the first 3 months of the season with a hamstring injury, Scoot returned to the court Friday night and played a key role in the Blazers defeating the Memphis Grizzlies 135-115 in front of a crowd of 16,895 at Moda Center on Friday night. The Blazers have struggled as of late, a lot of that due to injuries, especially with Deni in and out of the lineup due to that back injury. They've had a hard time creating good shots, so Scoot's return to the lineup in that game on Friday was especially well-timed. Scoot wasted no time creating, finding Donovan Clingan on a lob at the rim in his first offensive possession. Donovan unfortunately didn't finish the lob, but he actually did get the putback and finish that, though Scoot didn't get an assist for it, which I would argue maybe he deserved, but that's neither here nor there. And after playing 5 minutes in the first quarter, Scoot, now in his 3rd season out of the G League Ignite, settled into the game in the second quarter, handing out 4 assists, grabbing 2 rebounds, and getting a steal to help the Blazers outscore Memphis by 15 in the second quarter to take a 68-64 lead into the half. And after setting the table for his teammates in the second quarter, seemed like Scoot looked to create for himself a little bit more in the third quarter, going 2 of 3 from the field and 1 of 2 from both 3 and from the line for 6 points in just 5 minutes for Scoot. And that's really important for a guy like Scoot Henderson to know when should he create for other guys and when should he look for his own. And that's been part of his development as a point guard. And in his first couple games back, it really feels like he's turned the corner in that regard. Now in his 3rd season, it's unfortunate that it's taken so long for the Scoot to be able to get onto the court this season. But since he has returned, he has looked absolutely fantastic. And with Scoot's help, the Blazers would once again outscore Memphis by 15 points in the third quarter to take a 19-point lead into the fourth, and the Grizzlies would never get any closer from there and would trail by as many as 30 points before cutting the deficit to 20 before the final buzzer. Scoot Henderson finished with 11 points on 4 of 10 shooting from the field, 2 of 7 shooting from 3, and 1 of 2 shooting from the line for 11 points to go with a game-high 9 assists, 5 rebounds, and a steal, but perhaps more importantly, he finished a team best plus 19 in just 21 minutes. Really like what we've seen out of Scoot in his first couple games back and really giving this team something they absolutely need right now, which is, again, playmaking, an ability to get into the paint and then create for other guys, something that Deni has done a great job of this year. Jrue Holiday's done a great job of this year when he's been in the lineup, and now they have another guy in Scoot Henderson who is very good at that. Jeremy Grant led all scorers with 23 points. Jeremy's also been really good lately as well, on 8 of 15 shooting from the field to go 3 of 9 from 3 and 4 of 4 from the line to go with 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal and a block in 28 minutes for Jeremy Grant. Jrue Holiday with 20 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals in 25 minutes. Toumani Camara, 6-11 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3 for 15 points, go with 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal in 29 minutes. And both Donovan Clingan and Robert Williams III, who is also playing some really good basketball right now, finished with 13 points. Clingan grabbed 17 rebounds, and Rob Williams had 7, while also getting 3 blocks in that game. Ron Repair, 12 points in 11 minutes off the bench, and Vit Krejci finished with 11 points as well. Fortunately, though, it wasn't all good news for the Trailblazers on that night. Shaedon Sharpe left the game in the second half with a calf injury, and he has not played since. Not entirely sure how long Shaedon's going to be out with that calf injury. And at this point in time, calf injuries from Scoot to Jrue and anyone else in the NBA, I don't know if there's any point in even trying to predict how long guys are going to be out with those kind of injuries. Hopefully it won't be out too long for Shaedon Sharpe, but again, no real way to predict. He has not played in any game since that game on Friday. I'm guessing he's probably not going to play in the back-to-back before the All-Star break on Wednesday and Thursday. So that does give him quite a bit of time to rehabilitate, but we'll just have to see. Hopefully Shaedon is able to get back because the Blazers getting healthy at the right time and really playing some good basketball in large part because of it. So the Blazers get a convincing win versus the Grizzlies on Friday night, and then right back at it on Sunday night, once again versus the Grizzlies at Moda Center in one of those all home back-to-backs the NBA started to do a few years ago in order to decrease the amount of travel, particularly with teams like Memphis that is quite a ways away. Makes a lot of sense to have them just come to Portland once. It's really helpful to also just have to go to Memphis once, other places like that, New Orleans, another kind of a long flight for an in-conference game. So it's really nice that they've been doing that throughout the years. I don't know exactly what it does for the competition, but I think in terms of the travel, I think it's really smart. And so I'm always glad to see it. And I was really glad to see it in this one, too, because the Trailblazers once again able to get another victory versus the Grizzlies, defeating the Grizzlies 122-115 on Saturday night. In that rematch, both teams rested players, both due to injuries and probably due to some other reasons as well. For the Trailblazers, Scoot, Rob, Shaedon, Deni all did not play in that game. Scoot and Rob because they're not playing second night of back-to-backs right now as they come back from injury. Shaedon because he's got that calf injury, and Deni because he was out for an extended period. Well, I don't know if I'd say extended, but he still had not yet come back with that back injury. And with the Blazers having to sit so many players, and with the Grizzlies not playing a lot of the guys who had played the game before, much in the same fashion. I don't know if that was an injury or if they just wanted guys to get minutes, but either way, both teams trotting out much different lineups in the second game, and it looked very much like that in the first half of that game. So the game at the intermission was tied at 63-63. The Grizzlies came out hot in the third quarter, at least hotter than the Blazers, and shot 57% from the field and 42% from three to outscore Portland by 8 and take a 96-88 lead into the fourth quarter. And at that point in time, you're really thinking to yourself, boy, I really hope the Blazers don't lose this game. They have more talent than this Grizzlies team. They're playing without a lot of players, so it's always going to be a tough one, but you still really feel like those are the kind of games that if you're the Blazers and you want to be a team that maybe even gets up into the top half of the play-in, let alone the playoffs, those are the kind of games you have to win, and the Blazers able to get that one in the fourth quarter. They take over in the fort, use a 20-7 run to turn what was a 9-point deficit into a 4-point lead with a little over 4 minutes to play. Portland ends up shooting 59% from the field and 46% from three to outscore the Grizzlies 34-19 in the fourth quarter to secure the 122-115 victory. Blazers turn the ball over just 4 times in the second half after committing 13 turnovers in the first half. I think we've seen over and over and over again for this Blazers team, when they're able to take care of the ball, they are always going to be in games. When they're not able to take care of the ball, they put themselves behind the 8 ball. But lately, and particularly with getting guys like Scoot and Deni and Drew back, Blazers, I feel like, have a lot of potential, at least, to be a much better team in terms of their turnovers in the unofficial second half after the All-Star break. And if they're able to do that, as I mentioned, they will always be in games because of that. Their schedule is easier in the unofficial second half of the season anyways. So if they're able to get healthy and take care of the ball, Blazers might really set themselves up for a great second half of the season. And in that game versus the Grizzlies, to secure that win, Jeremy Grant goes 10 of 17 from the field and 6 of 10 from three and 3 of 5 from the line for 29 points, go with 5 rebounds, 3 assists in 32 minutes. Drew Holiday in that one goes 8 of 13 from the field and 4 of 6 from three to finish with 21 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds in 27 minutes. Donovan Clingan took advantage of the Memphis Grizzlies' lack of size in that game, posted 20 points and 19 rebounds to go with 3 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal in 36 minutes. Caleb Love, who has been in and out of the lineup as of late because he's nearing his 50-game limit as a two-way player, went 7 of 18 from the field for 17 points to go with 8 assists and a steal in 27 minutes. Not entirely sure what's going to happen with Caleb Love now that the Blazers have gotten multiple guards back. He is coming up to his 50-game limit, as is Sidy Cissoko. Team's going to have to make a decision on both of those guys here soon. If nothing else, they'll just continue to play with the remix, or they'll start playing with the remix. So it's not like they're out of the organization, but at this point in time, they will not be with the Trailblazers anymore unless the Blazers do make some kind of move, meaning they would probably have to cut someone or waive someone in order to sign either Sidy or Caleb. Obviously, they'd have to cut 2 players if they were going to bring them both on. So some decisions for the Trailblazers front office here within the next couple of days. To finish off for that game, Blake Wesley, who has also returned to lineup as of late and has looked fantastic, and V. Krejci, both those players with 10 points off the bench. Blake got his 10 points, though, in less than 9 minutes, just playing some really fun ball for Blake Wesley and has a really fun two-man game going with Young Hansen. You can tell that they've put in a little bit of time together with Blake Wesley kind of rehabilitating and Hansen playing more in practice because he's not playing a ton in games. I imagine those two guys are working out with each other a lot in practice, and you can see it in games when they get in together. They had a great play in that Grizzlies game where Hansen, I think, gave him a between the legs pass. They had a nice little give and go at the end of the 76ers game as well. So really glad to see that. And really just glad to see the Blazers getting healthy and getting guys back out there, getting an opportunity now to play the way they were playing in the first couple weeks of the season when they looked so dynamic on both sides of the ball. Blazers getting healthy at the right time. And let's just go ahead and talk about that a little bit more, actually, because, getting guys like Deni Avdija and Scoot Henderson and Jrue Holiday and Blake Wesley back in the lineup is going to be so advantageous for this team after the All-Star break. The game versus the Philadelphia Sixers, which we'll talk about here in a second, was the first time this season that Deni, Scoot, Jrue, and Rob Williams all played in the same game together, and they had a fantastic performance because of it. It's really great to see the Blazers getting healthy at the right time. Are they able to stay healthy? That is yet to be seen, but if they are able to stay healthy, and with so many teams seeming like they're looking to future seasons rather than this season, and with the Blazers, I think not being one of those teams, with the Blazers being a team that wants to win this year and potentially get up into that playoff race, let alone being in the play-in, which is where they're at right now, the fact that they are getting healthy, and if they're able to stay healthy, is going to go a long way towards them being able to make a little bit of progress. If they're able to move up the standings and get into that actual playoff race, that would really go a long way for this team. And they have the potential to do that. We've seen throughout the years this Blazers team has been really good after the All-Star break. And this year, they've got a lot to play for. They've got players who haven't been able to play as much as you would have liked earlier in the season, who are now hopefully healthy enough to play later on in the season. So they're fresh, they're motivated, and with something to play for, who's to say what this team could do in the second half of the season? Well, after a bit of a rough stretch, the Trailblazers are finally playing some pretty good basketball. But if you want to see the baddest show on earth, it's coming to Spirit Mountain Casino on March 13th. Known for their timeless classics like Bad to the Bone and Who Do You Love, George Thorogood and the Destroyers are ready to rock on March 13th at Spirit Mountain Casino. Tickets are on sale now at spiritmount.com. Spirit Mountain Casino on Highway 18 in Grand Ronde. Elevate your game. It's not at all surprising to see the Trailblazers, I don't know if I'd even say struggle, but just, be a little uncomfortable as they start working players back into the rotation. And, when they've been so reliant on Deni Avdija, when Deni goes down and then Jrue comes back, and then sometimes Deni's in the lineup and sometimes Jrue's not. Sometimes Deni's available, but he's not 100%. Same with Jrue. It can take a little time to kind of remember the way you were playing before, or kind of transition into playing a different way because you've got players who were previously unavailable now back in the lineup. The same exact thing goes for Scoot Henderson, figuring out how to work him back into the rotation. That's going to take a little bit of time. And I think we've seen that as these guys have come back. Again, not playing bad basketball, but just a little, you can tell that it's just a little disjointed, and they're just trying to get back to knowing each other on the court, and understanding where guys are going to be and how things are going to flow. And it finally feels like they're starting to get that figured out. I think we saw that in Monday's game versus 76ers, which the Trailblazers won 135-118 Monday night at Moda Center to finish off that 5-game homestand. It has taken the Trailblazers some time to work previously injured players back into the rotation, but after a few rough outings, it seems like things are really starting to come together. After having one half of Jrue Holiday, Deni Avdija, and Scoot Henderson all on the floor at the same time this season, the Blazers turned in arguably their best quarter of the season, outscoring the 76ers by 25 points in the third quarter to set up that 135-118 victory in front of a crowd of 16,025 at Moda Center on Monday night. The Blazers are now 26-28 overall and 16-13 at Moda Center this season. The win is Portland's third straight and gives them a 3-2 record on that now completed homestand. The Blazers trailed by as many as 10 points in the second quarter, though they managed to cut the 76ers lead to 1 by the intermission, and after the break, it was all Trailblazers. Portland used a 20-3 run over a 3-minute stretch early in the third quarter to take a 90-72 lead and control of the game. A few minutes later, the Blazers would use a 19-9 run to take a 28-point lead with just under 30 seconds to play in the third quarter. Deni Avdija and Toumani Camara, who would set a career high in that game both in scoring and in three-pointers made, would outscore the Sixers 25-22 in the quarter, and that's just Toumani and Deni together. The rest of the team also playing some pretty good basketball in that third quarter versus 76ers. When it was all said and done, the Blazers outscored Philadelphia 49 to 22 in the third quarter on 62% shooting from the field, 53% shooting from three, and 82% shooting from the line to take a 113-87 lead into the fourth quarter. The Blazers would go up by as many as 31 in that game before the Sixers were able to reel it back in to make it a little closer than it actually was. The 17-point victory did not really even indicate how dominant the Blazers were in the second half of that game. Toumani Camara, who has been maybe the biggest beneficiary of the return of Deni Avdija and Jrue Holiday and Scoot Henderson. He's getting a ton of open looks now, and he is absolutely taking advantage of that. He led all scorers with a career-high 30 points on 10 of 12 shooting from the field, while also making a career-high 8 three-pointers to go with 3 rebounds, 3 steals, and an assist in just 27 minutes. Deni Avdija, in his first game back after missing 4 games with that back injury, looked absolutely fantastic, came close to getting a triple-double with 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists, while also logging 2 steals and a block in just 26 minutes. Deni even said after the game, the last game he had played in was versus the Knicks in New York. He did not look right in that game, had about, I think, 8 or 9 days off before playing versus the 76ers, and looked like he was back to his old self. Maybe not 100% just yet. He did say he felt a little bit winded, but he also said that he's like, I know how to really kind of simplify my game and do the things that I need to do in order to be successful while still not maybe being 100%. And we absolutely saw that versus the 76ers. He looked fantastic in that game, as did Donovan Clingan and Jeremy Grant, who both put up 15 points, with the former getting 7 rebounds and 4 blocks, and the latter getting 4 rebounds and 2 assists. Jrue Holiday, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal in just 27 minutes for Jrue Holiday. Has been turning in some really nice, low-key, great performances for Jrue Holiday. Scoot Henderson coming off the bench once again, 12 points. I believe 8 of those coming from the free throw line to go with 6 assists and 2 rebounds in his second game this season. Really great to see Scoot playing out there. He has looked so good. Really like the best of what we've seen from Scoot, kind of playing the same brand of basketball, again, kind of a downhill bowling ball, get into the paint kind of guy, and really is doing a great job of finding guys. He's obviously got more talent around him now than he's ever had with the Blazers. So I think that's helpful. And I think, again, he's the enthusiasm he's playing with, the speed. I just think that Scoot's really given this team a really nice change of pace right now. And if they're able to have every player on this team just accept a role and be satisfied with that role, I mean, there's guys who would probably like to be starting right now who aren't. But if everyone is able to just accept their role and play the way that Thiago and the staff are asking them to play, again, this team has the potential to really go on a run after the All-Star break. And for multiple reasons. You get all those players back from injury. They really have something to play for. Guys want to make the playoffs. They want to make the postseason. They at least want to stay in the play-in. A bunch of the teams above and around the Blazers didn't really make moves at the deadline that would lead you to believe that they're ready to make a run. And I don't like to do the whole, well, the Blazers are getting injured players back, so that's just as good as if they made a trade anyways. I don't like that line of theory, but the fact of the matter is the Blazers have more talent on their team available now than they've had at any point in time this season. And so if they're able, again, to keep everyone upright and healthy, and they're able to have everyone accept a role and lock in, this team could really do something, particularly with the schedule they have in the second half of the season. They've got a couple extended road trips, but a lot of very winnable games against teams that are near or below them in the standings. They'll need to do better versus teams from the East. The Blazers' record versus teams from the East, obviously getting a win versus the Sixers on Monday night goes to helping that record versus the East. But actually, in the stat packet we got the other day, it said Portland's differential between their record versus the West and the East was one of the worst in the last 20 years or something like that. So still a lot of season to go. But if they're able to improve in terms of getting some wins on the East Coast rather than dropping all those games, and a lot of those extended road trips are Eastern Conference road trips. If they're able to keep everyone healthy, if everyone is able to accept the role, and if everyone has something to play for, the playoffs, then I really feel like at that point in time, you start to get enthusiastic and optimistic about what this team can do once the All-Star break passes, because they're seeming like they're rounding into form at the right time. Now, granted, we said that, when the new year started and they came out and played some really good basketball with so many home games, had a bit of a trail off during that road trip. Seems like they're starting to kind of get their rhythm back a little bit. If they're able to hold on to that, get healthy, and go on a run here after the All-Star break, again, I think a lot of reasons to be really enthusiastic about what this team might be able to do in the last 30 something games of the season. And finally, since we're talking about the All-Star break, some news happening this weekend. Announced on Sunday that Damian Lillard, who has not played this season due to an Achilles injury and is not expected to play this season because of that injury, will participate in the 2026 State Farm three-point contest at All-Star Saturday, February 14th in Los Angeles at Intuit Dome. First thing I want to remind you of, or at least tell you, is that it's actually not All-Star Saturday night. It's not All-Star Sunday night. These events are actually happening during the day this season because of the Olympics. So everything other than the Friday night events, which is the Rising Stars with Hansen and Donovan, will start at 2 o'clock. Now, that doesn't mean they'll tip off at 2 o'clock, but those events or the broadcasts for those events start at 2 o'clock. And the three-point contest is the first event on All-Star Saturday. So you definitely want to be in front of a television by 2 o'clock to see Damian Lillard compete once again in the three-point contest. Dame is currently rehabbing that torn Achilles tendon suffered in last year's playoffs. Dame will compete in the three-point contest for the sixth time in his career, having previously competed in 2014, 2019, 2023, 2024, and 2025, while winning the event in both 2023, which was in Salt Lake City, and in 2024, which was in Indianapolis. Dame, having completed 13 NBA seasons, ranked fifth in NBA history with 2,804 career made three-pointers. His 2,387 made three-pointers in 11 seasons with the Trailblazers are most in franchise history. Damian Lillard will be going up against Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns, Con Knippel of the Charlotte Hornets, Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers, Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets, Bobby Portis, Dame's old teammate from the Milwaukee Bucks, and Norm Powell, one of Dame's former teammates with the Portland Trailblazers. So a pretty good field there, but a very good chance, I think, for Damian Lillard to win the three-point contest, despite the fact that he hasn't played this season. I think any of you that follow Dame on social media know that he has posted his three-point workouts fairly consistently, and the man knows how to shoot. I mean, obviously, not necessarily in game shape, but he is definitely in three-point shooting shape, which is why he's going to get out there. There's no way that Dame would go into that event if there was a chance of re-injury. That is not going to be the case. He's only basically doing the workouts that he's doing now. He'll just be doing it at All-Star Weekend. And so a really good chance to see Dame back out there in a Trailblazer jersey for the first time this season. So All-Star Weekend now having 4 Trailblazers participating. You've got Donovan Klingent and Young Hansen playing in the Rising Stars game on Friday night in Los Angeles. Then you have Damian Lillard in the three-point contest on All-Star Saturday. 2 o'clock start for that one on NBC and Peacock. And then you have Deni Avdija playing on the international team at the 2026 NBA All-Star Game Sunday afternoon at Intuit Dome. And when you start looking at the teams that Deni is going to be playing against on that international team, I think at this point in time, you feel really good about the international team's chances. They lose SGA, who is not going to be participating because of an injury, but the veterans team, which I think are the Stripes team, basically the way the NBA set it up, and I think this is actually a good idea, they took the younger and first-year All-Stars, put them on one team, the older All-Stars, the more kind of lineage guys, on another team, and then all the international players on the third team. Steph Curry apparently has an injury. He will not play in the All-Star game. Brandon Ingram taking his spot. So that, again, I think between Luka and Wemby and Jokic and Jamal Murray and Deni Avdija, I mean, that international team is absolutely stacked. Alperen Şengün is taking over for SGA. It's just a really good team. I think the international team is going to win it. It's a round robin tournament. So 2 teams will play, and then the winner of that team game will play one of the other teams. Basically, it's not like a winner's advanced. Basically, every team plays every team, and then the last 2 teams play for the championship, I guess. I think it's going to be the international team. Who's to say? The young guys might come out and get it. I do think it's really set up well for a good competition, because I think that the young guys are going to want to come out and play well because they're going to want to win and show the older players in their nationals. I think the older players, obviously, they want to plant their flag and show that they're still kind of running the league as well. And then our international players, I think they want to show that, that basketball is bigger than the United States now, and that it's being played well all over the world. And so, I do think that this is going to result in a much more competitive All-Star game. And granted, it's 3 teams, it's not 2 teams. It's not set up by conference. There wasn't the draft this year. So in some respects, you imagine that 3 teams are going to compete just a little bit harder anyways, because there's going to be more minutes for those guys as well. But also with the game being at 2 o'clock, that's also changing things quite a bit too. Quite a few off-court events at All-Star Weekend. So the fact that the actual on-court events will be starting earlier this year, I think will be interesting to see if there's any repercussions from that, either positive or negative. I think you can make arguments both ways. But either way, should be a pretty exciting All-Star Weekend. I will be down there with a legion of other Trailblazer staffers and content creators. So please check out trailblazers.com, Trailblazers on Instagram, Twitter, X, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you get your Trailblazers news. More podcasts as well down in Los Angeles. Wherever the guys are at All-Star Weekend, there's going to be one of us with them. So if you're interested at all in any of the activities going on in All-Star Weekend in Los Angeles, check out trailblazers.com. We will have you covered there. And thank you so much for joining me on this edition of The Briefcase. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. As I mentioned, I will be down in Los Angeles for the entirety of All-Star Weekend. So at least one, if not a couple more editions of The Briefcase. But until then, thank you so much for joining me. As always, thank you to our folks at Spirit Mountain Casino. I'm Casey Holdahl. We'll talk to you soon. Go Blazers.